Hey everyone. I want to talk about something that surfaced to my mind while helping someone out. Um, all too often, whenever we're facing challenges in our lives or we're trying to figure stuff out, we end up in a self described pickle. We end up in a dilemma. Tough decisions, right? We have to make hard decisions where both options suck, or we feel like we're backed into a corner, that there's no good solution. And there are times when this is true. However, a better way of approaching life is recognizing when we have not explored our options. A lot of us come from tough backgrounds, tough childhoods, maybe a split home dynamic, or the adults in the house were constantly at each other's throats. Maybe we were a scapegoat child. Maybe our parents were narcissistic or borderline. Maybe we're in a relationship with someone who's a narcissist or borderline, or we have children who are. And what you have to recognize is when you find yourself backed into a corner with unpleasant decisions and unpleasant choices, the first thing you need to do is analyze and figure out if you only have these two choices because it's a fight or flight response, right? So we all know about the amygdala. We all know about fight or flight, threat response. And technically it's freeze, flight, then fight, a three-pronged approach, right? But usually when we're making these tough decisions, it's one of these that's like, okay, do I commit, like with a relationship? Okay, so do I commit to this or do I end it? Do I, what do I do? Do I just move out and be homeless, or do I stay here and take it, right? These are hyperbolic choices between just two extremes. And we do that as part of a threat response, and we do that when we're processing fight or flight. We don't do that like in the morning when we're drinking coffee, eating our scrambled eggs and toast, or whatever it is you eat for breakfast, right? We don't do this. It's like, okay, I'm either making coffee or I'm dying of thirst today. No, you don't do that, right? You only end up in these tough decisions, situations, when you're in some sort of elevated, stressed state, whenever you're responding to a potential threat to your livelihood or well-being, etc. Okay? And that can come from childhood. If you had a chaotic childhood and you're a child trying to navigate the fierce emotions of an unstable adult, that's where splitting comes from, right? Because as a child, you're not really in control of what's going on with the adults, and you're either gonna take the blame for it and you're gonna suffer from it, or you're not, right? So children from those dynamics often make a decision whether or not they just go down that path at all, or if they just completely just give up on an idea, right? You have to think about that, because in life, legitimate choices in life always have a minimum of 4 options to choose from. If you have more than 4 options, then you can be sure that you are in a non-toxic state of mind. Okay? So when you have the tough life decisions, if you don't have at least 4 possible solutions, then you are not yet done evaluating that situation in life. And that can help you relax. Because if you know this about yourself, then you can relax. Like, oh my God, I got to make a tough decision. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then you stop and you realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm not quite there yet. There's still more solutions out there. I just have to find them. And so the way you find them is you have to know that they exist. And then the next thing is shock, self-control, and meditation. You have to relax your mind. You have to let it go. And you have to figure out how to calm yourself. And then trust your brain, trust yourself to know that other options will eventually make themselves apparent. You just won't be able to see them, because when you're reacting, your brain is just going to pick the first two most extreme opposites to choose from. And then that's it. Because you're in a reactive state of mind. You're not in a conscientious, computational state of mind. You're not processing. You are reacting. And that's not good. You should never make huge consequential life decisions in a reactive state of mind. Not unless it can be helped. Obviously, if you're a soldier in the middle of a war, you're not going to, bullets start flying, you're not going to sit there and think, oh, well, gee, hold on, I haven't reached my 4 options yet, and then you're dead, right? There are times when the reactive state of mind and reactive decision making can save you, clearly. But especially if you live in the US or anywhere in the first world, 95 to 99% of problems are imaginary, meaning that if you don't make a fast decision, you're not going to lose life or limb. It's usually some sort of intellectual, conscious decision that you have to make. And these things usually have time. If you don't make your decision right now, it's not going to come smash you in the face with a hammer. Now, sometimes there are times when that is the case, such as someone running at you with a hammer trying to smash you in the face. But for the majority of life decisions about relationships or decisions about jobs or where you live or a living situation or a roommate or a family member, anything along those lines, you always have time. You always have time. And never, if you're trying to make a reactionary decision, you should always have at least 4 options available. I'll give you the example of where this comes from. A friend of mine is stuck in a bad housing situation. He's losing. He was living with his brother, and things came to a head. And so now he's trying to figure out where he's going to live or what he's going to do. And he was stuck between, with his income, he didn't want, if he lived on his own, then finances would be tight. But he didn't really know anybody that he could roommate with, and so he was thinking about rooming with his girlfriend, but he had questions as to whether or not their relationship was going to be that strong. But he's like, I feel like I'm stuck, because if I live with her, we haven't been together very long, and that could be a very bad situation. But if I try to have a place all on my own, then finances are going to be tight, and I won't have food in the cabinets. And so my advice to him was, well, you have more options than that. You just can't see them right now because you are stressed and you are reacting. See, because what you want to do, first of all, is you want to go to an apartment complex and apply for an apartment. Start the process. They usually have an application fee that's somewhere between $35 to $70 or $100. And what you're going to do is you're going to pay for the information. Okay, you're going to pay for the service. You go to the apartments. You tell them that you're looking for a place to live. Finances are tight right now, and you just want to apply and just see, understand the process, see what you can actually qualify for. And they'll tell you, the majority of apartment complexes, they're gonna let you live there unless you just have this really, really insane background check, right? The majority of apartment complexes, they always have empty units available, and they always benefit by putting someone in a unit and paying them money than to just leave the unit empty. Very rarely is it better to leave a unit empty than to put someone in it, right? And that's really what they're trying to figure out, right? Can we profitably put somebody in this unit, and how much is it going to cost to flip the unit after they're done living there, right? So you can do that. You can respond to ads put out on Craigslist, whatever, people looking for roommates. Maybe you take over a sublease. Subleases are always an option, and those are great because, everything's out in the open, right? You already know you're only going to live there for a couple of months. Somebody's trying to move out of a situation, and they're leaving an empty room, and whatever, you just got to live with some people for a few months and until you get your shit figured out, right? So there's always subleases. There's also the option, the more uncomfortable option, but better in the long term, to actually go and if you can't make ends meet where you're living, then you identify where you can go so that ends do meet. Yeah, it's going to require probably moving further away from home, away from everything you know, but that's the big adventure of life. And if you can make ends meet, then you're going to thrive and you're going to flourish there. So the benefits far exceed the initial discomfort of moving far away, right? You're moving somewhere where there's going to be a net gain. You will be happier if you do that. So, but when you're in a reactionary state of mind, which is what he was in, all he could see was, I'm either going to be in a place by myself and have no money for anything, and just barely make ends meet, and I've already got enough credit card debt as it is because that's what I've been doing, or I'm going to have to risk moving in with a girlfriend, and I don't think we're quite ready for that relationship, and I can just kind of sort of feel that that's not a good option with her, so I don't know what I'm going to do. It's like, well, I can tell you what you're going to do. You're going to start identifying additional options until you find the one that actually resonates with you, because you're forcing yourself to choose options that do not resonate with who you are. So keep looking for options till you do find the one that resonates. Nobody said that they come right away. Most things in life take time, and most things in life are hidden. You know, you spend much of your life turning over stones, exploring options, and you got to go through 90 to 100 dead ends before you finally find that one road. So it's just a matter of keeping patient and understand that it's a game of numbers. You know, you're going to identify a lot of things that do not work, right? And Thomas Edison, when he invented the light bulb, tried over 1,000 times, and somebody said, you know, you're insane, you're crazy. Like, how does anybody do that? And he said, well, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I just figured out 1,000 different ways to not design a light bulb, right? He's like, I came up with 1,000 ways that in which you should not design light bulbs, right? So, I mean, there's that. Life is not about failures, okay? Most things in life require repetition, like riding a bicycle, right? You're going to, and this is what I tell my son, when things don't go the way you predicted, so what? So what? Right? You can't, you're not, nobody is a fortune teller. Nobody can see the future, right? So it doesn't matter if things don't go the way you thought they would go. Who told you that they had to? Nobody. Most things in life do not go the way you thought they would go. Life would be really weird if they did. And if you think about it, that's true. Okay? Most of the time, things start going in a direction. And like all things in life, like sailing and everything else, you start off in one direction, but then you make minor adjustments. You make small decisions along the way. You choose different paths, and you find your way to a destination. Might not be the destination you initially intended, but one thing is for sure in life, you will always end up in a destination. Period. And sometimes that destination is just a layover, right? So even if things don't go the way you wanted to, and if you don't end up where you wanted to be, you can still keep going. And that's what you should do. Nobody ever said that life was like that. Nobody ever said, hey, you know what? You just decide what you want to be and you'll get there. Nope. Nobody ever said, hey, in life, most decisions in life only require you to think about two different things. Nope. No, it's way more complex than that. And the complexity, it gets hidden when you're in a reactionary state of mind. So if you find yourself stressed over a situation, that's why. It's a feedback cycle, right? You're stressed because your options suck, but you can't see all the options because you're stressed about the lack of options. So calm yourself, because you don't have to make a choice. And that's what I want to leave you with this. When all of your choices suck, you don't have to make any of them. Your heart will still beat. Your lungs will keep breathing. And with time, different choices will come around. Different options will come around. Just keep breathing and let your heart continue beating. And if you don't like your choices, wait a minute, and other ones will come available. So thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, or share. I'll see you on the next video.